Hey there, my little card slinging space cadets. I hope you're all well. Thank you for coming to my channel to check out this very light-hearted, funny tag, Tarot in the Bedroom. It was a tag that was started by Whiskey Stevens over on her channel, so thank you, Whiskey, for starting this. And then I actually discovered the tag through watching Arcane Panda's video, which I really enjoyed, responding to which tarot cards she would sleep with. So I will leave both of these videos down below, and I'm sure there are others who have responded to the tag and done really good responses as well. But as soon as I saw Arcane Panda's one and then realised Whiskey Stevens started it and watched that one, and then I was like, no, I'm doing this now. I have to do this. I just think it's really, really light-hearted, funny, very much going to get me back into tags, because I've been wanting to get back into doing tags, especially tarottube tags, for a while now. So this will be the one that I decide to do first because it's hilarious. Now, look, I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm going to be completely honest. I have thought about this question before, maybe not in terms of, you know, which characters would I sleep with, but I definitely have crushes on certain figures in the tarot deck, and I have certain sort of figures in tarot that I just feel very romantic about, or I have a warm fuzzy feeling. And so it didn't really take much for my brain to start answering the question, which tarot cards would you go to bed with? Because I already know that I have crushes on a few figures in tarot. And that's not to say that I do not keep in my mind at all times that all cards have a spectrum of both light and shadow. All cards have their wondrous characteristics and their flaws and their misbehaviors and all of that. So I'm not saying that when I have a crush on a card, I only think of them in a good way, because that is not so. I definitely acknowledge their shadows as well. But yeah, there are some cards I've got crushes on, and so we're going to get into it right now. I'm going to explain to you which cards I would go to bed with and why. I'm just going to go with my Rider-Waite-Smith for ease, my darlings, but there are lots of different pictorial depictions of these different figures that I love or that I don't love so much. I'm going to be talking more about personality traits rather than what they look like or how they're dressed. And I want to start with the biggest crush of mine in the whole of tarot. I have loved this guy for the longest time. I've got a massive sweet spot for him, and it is King of Cups. King of Cups, I love. He is my favourite king. I have unabashedly said that for many a moon now. Definitely something about King of Cups that makes me think that I would like to go to bed with him. And then I would like to go on a date with him. And then I would like to go to bed with him again, probably. King of Cups is a figure in tarot that has heightened sensitivity. He is a very, very deep feeler. He feels all of his emotions. He is what I think of as a new paradigm man. In other words, he is really flying in the face of anything that we would put under the umbrella of toxic masculinity. He is not afraid to cry. He's not ashamed to feel deeply. He talks about his feelings. He communicates openly, and he's just not afraid of any of that. He doesn't think that makes him any less of a man. I also think of King of Cups as an individual in tarot who loves life, wants to really suck the marrow out of life. He wants to enjoy the art in the gallery. He wants to really taste and enjoy the sumptuous food that he's eating. He's really loves music, and he loves, you know, sex. He loves life. You know, he's a very deep feeler about everything that's going on in his experience. And I feel like he's got a lot of emotional intelligence. King of Cups is really rich in emotional intelligence. And so to me, how is that not going to translate well in the bedroom? I just don't know how that could possibly not work, you know? So yeah, King of Cups, I'll be honest. Okay, this is a bit of a video where I'm talking about sex and stuff. So I'll be honest, I've definitely had some wonderful experiences, bedroom experiences, with men whose personality was very much modeled on King of Cups. I felt like, you know, I felt like they were giving me a King of Cups vibe, and I'm not going to lie, it went well. It was indeed something to write home about. It will keep me warm when I'm very, very old and my heating goes, and I think I'm going to keep myself warm thinking about those King of Cups experiences I had when I was in my prime. So King of Cups, definitely, first of all, no question at all. Next figure in tarot is a figure that I share in common with Arcane Panda. I love Nine of Pentacles. I'm really, really into her. She is a figure in tarot that is just so in charge of herself, and just, I admire her. I'm basically intimidated by her as well. And I do notice sometimes, particularly with women or female presenting people, that actually feeling intimidated by them is part of it. It's like it can be part of the attraction. So I don't think I'd be put off by that. She's got a riveting garden, just so beautiful. She's dressed amazingly. I would definitely admire the threads, the garms, and I think she would just impress me. And Arcane Panda said in her video that Nine of Pentacles is a figure, the figure in Nine of Pentacles is a figure who works very hard and really applies herself, but then enjoys the luxury of the payoff. And so the way that that could translate into bed is, you know, going the extra mile, making the effort, you know, very attentive, good foreplay. I'm not even going to try and monetize this. And then, you know, just enjoying that payoff, like really just like making a goddamn effort, being there, being present and wanting to make it as good as it can be. So I definitely have that feeling about Nine of Pentacles. So I would not say no to a little bedroom time with Nine of Pentacles. So I would say that this third card that I would go to bed with is an obvious one, but maybe for some of you it won't be. But for me, death. Death makes sense for me. I think there'd be definitely something unpredictable, exciting, kind of kinky, a little bit Scorpio about death in bed. So I like that idea. I'm not sure how much more I can say about that. It's just there's something sexy about the energy of the death card and everything that it gives to us. It's like, if I was to think how that would translate into bed, maybe letting go of your inhibitions, not being very rigid about what the plan is going to be for the encounter, but just really like just feeling very deeply into it, letting it be what it wants to be, being surprised, maybe trying things you've never tried before, maybe finding that by the end of the situation you are somehow changed in your soul, and it's okay because it was a very, very sexy kind of alchemy and you're richer for the experience or something. I don't know. I'm just definitely getting kinky. I'm getting intense from death, very intense, memorable, definitely memorable. The next one is just obvious as shit, and it's Three of Cups. I mean, yes. There's nothing else I'll say about that. I want to get in there. I want to get good and drunk with them, and then I somehow want to find a hot tub. That's all I'll say about that. Okay, so another card that I think I've had a bit of a crush on for a long time. I know I've had a crush on this card for a long time, and it's the Magician. But there's a few caveats with the Magician. First of all, I would have to get my head around the fact that it would be good and I would enjoy it, and I'm sure he'd have a lot of tricks up his magic sleeves and it would be lovely, but I don't think he's going to call me again. I don't know. There's just that vibe with the Magician, I think. I don't think he's going to call me again, and I think he's going to try and make me feel as though he will call me. I would therefore have to make sure that I did not get attached to this guy, because it's not going anywhere. It's going to be a one-night thing. That's what I feel like. I'd actually like it to be on that very table. I'd like the sweeping away of the tools and the, you know, passionate, yes, right here and now, let's just do it on the table. But I definitely have to not have any emotional interest in him beyond the emotional interest of having that encounter, because I just feel like he is just not ready to settle down, and it's his show, you know, he doesn't want anybody sharing, and I've got quite a lot of Magician energy myself, so I'm not going to be the kind of person that somebody like the Magician is going to end up with, but, you know, I definitely think it would be a nice time. That's what I will say. The Magician has a lot of will, a lot of determination. You know, he can be very single-mindedly focused on what it is that he wants to achieve. So if he's looking to achieve, you know, my pleasure for the evening, that'd be great. Although statistically, it's far more likely for a woman to be satisfied by a man who is sleeping with her regularly or intends to be sleeping with her regularly. So now that I'm thinking about it, actually, if it's just going to be a one-time thing, then the Magician's singular focus, determination and will may all be focused on his pleasure rather than mine, which would suck, and I would be highly disappointed if that was going to be the case. But maybe not entirely surprised. I don't know. I reckon he'd probably oversell himself as well, somehow, in terms of, you know, how good it was going to be, or I don't know. Obviously, I'm having some ambivalence now with the Magician. Do I want to sleep with the Magician or not? It's a very important question. I need to figure out the answer to this question. The next tarot card is one that I am much more certain about. There is no question in my mind that I would go to bed with the Hanged Man. Definitely. I mean, do I even need to explain why? the sheer concentration, the perseverance, the discipline, the patience. I mean, it would last and last. I feel like there's some definite tantric knowledge there. Am I being absolutely outrageous? Come on, I just really feel like the hanged man would know what he was doing. And the hanged man is not in a hurry. The hanged man's going to take his time. He sees a lot of value in the journey. He's not obsessed with the arriving. Notice that there is absolutely no Knight of Swords or Chariot in this collection of cards I would sleep with, and nor will there be, because I'm looking for someone who's going to take their time, who's going to amble and meander and explore and experiment and know that that is where the beauty of it really is. And I feel like, you know, the hangman is going to tick those boxes, you know. And I think the hangman's going to be totally present as well. When the hangman is engaging in something of any spiritual significance or any experiential significance, that's all he's doing. That's the whole thing with him, that is all he's doing. He is not, you know, multitasking in his mind to the point where he's going to drop the ball, you know. And I think that definitely includes bedroom stuff. So the hanged man definitely gets a vote from me as a card I would go to bed with. The Lovers is the next card I would like to go to bed with. I feel like there's such an authenticity of feeling here. There's a facing each other. They're naked. I mean, they're just sort of enamored with each other. And I'll be honest, I just want to get there in the middle of them and be the sandwich filling. Is that such a bad thing? You know, will I go to hell for thinking that? Hell with two L's? I don't think so. I mean, yes, there's a perfect duality. Where would I fit in? Would I just kind of be an energy that comes in and is all wrong? But it kind of reminds me of like when you have two friends who are amazing and they're in love and they're great and you love spending time with them, and you kind of think to yourself, you know what, if that occasion ever arose, I definitely would. I definitely would. With those two. The Lovers kind of give me that vibe when I think about cards I'd sleep with. I think those two are aligned, they're excited by each other, they know each other well enough that if there was a new element brought in, it would be something they could deal with and something they would enjoy and something that they would be ready to handle and have probably done before. Okay, let's face it. That might not be their first rodeo when it comes to the menage a trois. Okay, two more cards in tarot that I would sleep with, that I'd go to bed with. First one, the Star. The Star is one of the last two. I really have a good feeling about sleeping with the Star. I think this figure would just be so nurturing, so giving. I'm seeing her stroking my hair for like a solid hour, and I'm definitely seeing myself do the same because I'm into all that, all the stroking and the just like pillow talk and looking into each other's eyes and all that jazz. I feel like she's got a lot of time for that. There's a softness to her. I want to get to know her. I feel like it would be pretty explosive, but in a, I don't know, in some sort of, in a very gentle, awesome, embodied way where you feel like every part of you has just been witnessed and nurtured. This seems a little bit more lovey. I'm obviously going in a more like lovey direction with the Star, but I think I've had a bit of a crush on this particular figure in tarot for a while. There's just that sense of giving and that sense of compassion that she would take into the physical experience with her, and the desire that both people shine in the experience. And I don't know, just how can I even put it? What can I say about the Star that would make it make sense? I think the Star has got the spiritual outlook. I think she's this inspiration giver. She's filled with hope and vision. And so I just think all of that would translate really well. There's a gentleness to her. There's a vulnerability there. But I feel like she'd also know what she was doing. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let me know. Answers on a postcard. Put your comments on that down in the down below and let me know. And finally, lastly but not leastly, Queen of Swords. Now, Queen of Swords is my favourite queen. She's always been my favourite queen. I used to say that if I was going to be any of the four queens, I'd be Queen of Swords, but actually I think it's a combination between Queen of Swords and Queen of Wands. I definitely can see myself equally in both, but Queen of Swords is the one that I feel the most connected to, intimately, emotionally connected to. Funnily enough, I am a fire sign, I'm a Sagittarius, but I do have a Gemini rising, which is what a lot of people who are very good at astrology tend to pick up on. The other day, a palm reader did correctly read me as a fire sign, but lots of people do read me as an air sign. So I guess I'm really connecting with that air, that like the use of the mind, the strong sense of what she thinks, and I'm intimidated by her. As I said earlier, that's not usually a terribly bad thing when it comes to women. Otherwise, it can be a little bit confusing. But with women, the intimidation is part of the attraction in a way for me. And Queen of Swords, I think, is just, there's something about her. I like toughness in a woman. This is really about my own attraction rather than necessarily what her qualities would bring to the proceedings. She's very much in charge of herself. So I'm sure she knows what she's doing, and I'm sure she knows what she wants. And I think it would be an interesting experience, maybe a bit different to some of the things I've experienced before, possibly. I think that she would not be in a hurry either. I think she'd bring her strategy and her tactical ability into the bedroom as well, which would be great. She's keen to know. I think she's keen to know her lovers. She's got an engineer's mind when it comes to how to get her lover off. She wants to know. She doesn't just want to hope for the best. She wants to figure it out. I think she wants to tinker with you and figure out how, the best way to make you explode like stardust everywhere. So I think she's keen to learn you and get it right, which I like. But also, I just think of her as tough. She's a badass. Like, she just takes no prisoners. And that's something about a woman that I've always loved, that kind of woman. I mean, yes, it's always been a thing for me. So maybe in a little way, wanting to go to bed with Queen of Swords is like wanting to go to bed with some aspects of myself, although there is a lot about Queen of Swords as an energy in tarot that I do not necessarily exhibit often, and that's where the intimidation comes from, is the feeling of wanting to amplify that more in myself, and not wanting to shrink away when I see that in somebody else. So maybe it's a little bit of wanting to fuse with this card that I have such a interesting emotional relationship with, but also I sense that I would just have the hots for her on sight. I just know that if I walk past her, I'd know it. And sometimes I do meet a woman who's very Queen of Swords, and I know it. It takes one to know one. And if she's tarot literate, I say Queen of Swords, and she's like, yeah, she's my favorite queen. Or even she's my favorite card in the deck, and I'm like, see, you can really like sense it straight away. So maybe she just also is representative of women that I tend to be attracted to as well. So that's my assessment. Those are the tarot cards I would go to bed with. Again, Whiskey Stevens, thanks so much for this tag. Very innovative and cheeky. And I'd be interested to know down in the comments, are you surprised by any of these picks? What would you pick? If you have a channel and you are thinking of doing this tag, please do this tag and let me know that you have done it. Let's all share this information. I think it's really a different way of thinking about the cards. It's interesting. Yes, I'd like to know. So yeah, this has been an awesome one. If you want to talk to me about tarot, if you have a deck and you're learning, or you're coming up against obstacles and you want to talk to me, or you just want to go through interpretations with me and stuff, I do offer tarot chat sessions, darlings. So you can hit me up down below for either one singular session or a package of 3. And let's actually talk about your tarot journey and what you think and feel about the cards. So that's something I offer. I'm also going to be bringing out a course very soon, a tarot course that is intended to just help you to quickly get better. So it's a bunch of kind of like cheats, mindset shifts, little hacks you can do that hopefully will get you more confident reading for others in very little time. So I will let you know when that is coming. I'm very excited to launch that soon. Until then, much love, darlings, and blessed be. Keep slinging those cards. Mwah.